It's time to feel the rage. Welcome to Film Rage, where we talk movies in theaters, streaming, and classic films as well. Directors and actors beware, as you cannot hide from the rage. My name is Bryce, and I'm part of the Film Rage crew, which also includes Jim. Hey there, Jim.
Hey bee.
And Murray. Hey there, Murman.
That was pretty impressive.
So with the introductions out of the way, let's rage on.
Well, thanks all for supporting us. If you love our independent podcast, please like, subscribe, share, and give us a 5-star rating on your listening platform. Or support us and join the Film Rage community by joining our membership at buymeacoffee.com/Film Rage YYC. If you cannot commit to a membership, you can still buy us a movie rental and dare us to see a terrible movie. And we'll watch it if it played anywhere in the world in a cinema. Because that's the only places movies should be watched. In a cinema. Now, let's get to raging. But first, here's a word from our sponsor.
Hey Bryce, what are you doing tonight?
I'm going to my favorite cinema, Canyonmeadowscinema, to see the best second-run movies at the best price.
What? How inexpensive are they?
Regular price is $5.
Regular price is $5. Makes me hope they also serve pizza.
They do, plus a lot of other great food choices. Plus, I'm planning my office Christmas party there. They can host a plethora of options for any get-together. Gaming, movie, drag show.
Drag show? Now I know where I'm planning my next party.
Hey, maybe you think there's a Liam Neeson or a superhero movie planned?
I hope not. But maybe there'll be a great independent documentary.
Sure. Call CMC at 403-670-5444 to book a special event or go online at canyonmeadowscinema.ca.
And I was just thinking as we were sitting here waiting for the music to end, sometimes that music, as much as I love it, it kind of sounds a little porny. I'm not just going to say.
There's something wrong with that?
No, nothing. That's why I probably like it.
That's probably why you like it.
Yeah. 100%.
Now send in the clowns. That would be me.
What
All
would
right.
Amazing Murman predict? Amazing Murman predict? What would Amazing Murman predict?
All right.
What would Amazing Murman predict? What would Amazing Murman predict? What?
When do I cut him off? That's the thing.
Just
right?
start talking and he'll shut up.
Well, you gents went to 3 movies this week. I went to none. The first of which was the latest tag team from Scorsese and DiCaprio. Killers of the Flower Moon, which
yes.
comes in at a short 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 hours, 27 minutes. Wasn't
well, whatever. Yeah, but you stay for the credits, so that's
I
like
do.
3 hours and 40 minutes.
It's one of the things that was worth watching, right before the credits.
No, don't give anything away. He hasn't told us what he's predicting yet.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see it, but kind of didn't.
Yeah.
It's like I like Yeoh and used to like Scorsese until he started bashing everybody else in Hollywood. I do like that Plemons guy. He was pretty good.
Jesse Plemons. I love the guy.
We
He's the
didn't get
best.
enough Jesse in this.
I need more Jesse.
I don't know. It dealt with some historic social issues,
True. Yeah, sorry.
which, as someone of partial Aboriginal
Heritage.
blood, I can identify with.
Yeah.
I don't know. What I saw of the trailer, just again, it seemed too long, and it seemed like a whole white savior thing, and a little bit like what was that Daniel Day-Lewis one with the oil?
There will be blood.
Yeah, it seemed like more like just like that.
Okay.
I figured maybe some of the acting might have saved it for you guys.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
I can't see
It
you
was
guys
very
giving it
good
a
acting.
mondo. You might have barely given it a meh.
All right.
All right.
We got meh.
And then we got Dick's the Musical, which from the first 5 seconds I knew this was Jim's kind of movie. Because there was all kinds of swearing and talking about dicks.
All right.
I don't know. I think you guys might have actually loved it, and from what I hear, you guys were singing some of the songs, so maybe you both gave it a Mondo.
Wow, Mondo. Okay, let's see.
And Nyad.
Well, old lady swimming.
Old lady.
You know how we love old ladies swimming.
Old ladies swimming. And Annette Bening and Jodie Foster, who are two of the best in Hollywood. At the acting, not the swimming. I'm sure she's a good swimmer too. But
Jodie Foster is
a great swimmer.
No, she's such a good actor.
And she's also a swimmer. We're going to talk more about her later.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think Bryce might have mondoed that up. I think Jim might have had a few issues. Maybe meh.
All right.
Mondo meh. All right. I'm excited.
I'm probably wrong.
Let's see what the Murman predicted. Will it be right? Predicted.
For that.
All right. So we got to see a movie that was 3 hours and 27 minutes long, plus trailers, plus popcorn, plus it was a 7-hour event. You got to see Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon. It is the latest from director Martin Scorsese. Heard of him?
Vaguely.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's mafia movies.
He did this one movie once, I remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's actually made quite a few movies, Jim.
Oh. Well, maybe we should watch some of those.
This one is the story of how the white man strategically murdered members of the oil-rich Osage Nation to try and gain the rights for said oil. The film centers on Ernest Burkhart, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. He is a simple white man who works for his uncle, William Hale, but you can call him King. King is played by Robert De Niro, a white man who is obsessed with getting control of the Osage oil by any means. This includes using Ernest to commit robberies and arrange cold-blooded murders, as well as encouraging him to marry an Osage girl in an attempt to strategically get that oil money to flow in his direction. The Osage girl that Ernest marries is Molly, played by Lily Gladstone. The fact that this is the first time I am mentioning Molly is one of the many problems with this film. Instead of telling the story with her point of view in mind, we get this weird choice to tell it from Ernest's point of view, which in doing so attempts to humanize this horrible monster that repeatedly had a hand in murdering not only members of Molly's tribe, but members of her immediate family. This is something that is hard to get around as you are watching the film. Yes, the performances are good, with De Niro doing his best work in decades. Say what you want about De Niro, this performance was as good as he's been in a couple of decades. And DiCaprio was solid, he always is, as well as Lily Gladstone doing a nice job in a quiet but powerful performance. Plus we get Jesse Plemons as investigator Tom White.
As Murray mentioned,
Jesse's always good, always brings his A-game.
Always the Plemons.
And don't forget William Below as Henry, Janae Collins as Rita, and Jillian Dion as Minnie. Everyone aside from a very poorly cast and misguided performance from Brendan Fraser were very good in this. And yet, I cannot get away from the feeling that the focus was ill-conceived, and because of that, it was hard to appreciate all the good that was on the screen. And then towards the end, they had an opportunity to at least save the film somewhat, as there was a scene where Molly leaves Ernest alone in a room. It is a powerful moment, and it would have let Molly have the deserving last word in this. But instead of that, we get some more misguided choices from Scorsese and company. For some reason, instead of giving the Osage woman that endured so much have the last word, we get some hokey radio show with, you guessed it, a bunch of white folks getting the last word in a story they have no business having the last word in. So yes, this was a well-made, well-acted, well-scored film, but it was also an infuriatingly frustrating film that manufactures sympathy for a greedy, terrible, murdering piece of garbage in Ernest Burkhart, and then has the audacity to give the white man the last say in it all. And that makes me rage.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. We'll have to do some breaking down soon. The story about the Osage people of Oklahoma is a story worth telling.
Yes.
I just don't think Martin Scorsese was the right person to tell it. Maybe I should correct myself. I'm saying maybe. This really isn't about the Osage people. It's about a fucking asshole douchebag. But it should have been about them. This movie is over 3 hours long, and in my opinion, too simply written. It settled itself into a state of fact providing for pretty much 3 hours, and for the most part was extremely tiresome and not a thriller or surprising in the least. The best part is, of course, that the white men who were the criminals were brought to justice. But of course, in true white colonialism tradition, they don't really pay their full dues. The ending was pretty much, in my opinion, and we'll talk about this a bit, the best part of the film based on the story that Scorsese is telling us. Not necessarily the best ending it could have been. If they had ended it after Yeoh got busted, and as Bryce said, Molly left and it was her last word, that would have been, I 100% agree with you, the best ending for this. But no, they ended it after Yeoh, the evil fuck nugget, was had an ability to still show his ugly face on screen, and then they moved to this other piece. I did like the idea of knowing about the Osage people, and this is a story I think that is absolutely worth telling, and I think I would really love to see an actual documentary about this. In fact, I know I would love to see this. But there are tons of gaps in character development, simplicity of a story, and goddamn, the length of this movie is way too fucking long. The more I say or think about this film, the more it bothers me. And here are 3 things in particular I want to point out. The story I think Scorsese was telling, and Bryce, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was how bad the white people treated the Osage people, but I didn't get anything I wanted to know about the Osage people. So for that reason, it's a fail. If he really, part 2, if he really worked closely with the Osage people, why did he not have an Indigenous person co-direct, or maybe even make the story about Molly and less about Yeoh's character? Or show more about her and how much depth her character had, and not paint her out to be a typical victim, which, to me, she didn't have a strong character in this. She was a secondary, tertiary character that didn't have an ability to really show too much emotion. So for that reason as well, it's a fail. Do not write a whitewashed version of a terrible story where at any point you may feel sorry for Yeoh's character. He was the slimiest person that has ever lived, who is a real person in real life. So also fail on this part as well. I originally was walking out of the cinema and had things I did like about this film. But as I processed it and seeing more clips in cinema, which since we've saw the movie and we've seen other movies after we've seen the movie, they're now seeming to be adding in clips from Scorsese trying to explain some of the shit he failed in. If you remember some of the last movies we saw, they'd have a clip of him talking, trying to explain things in the film. I think he's trying to now apologize for stuff. And so, like, I can't help but feel he is realizing himself what I felt after seeing this film. It's a fail, as is Scorsese, for making this trash heap of a movie, trying to pass it off as a story about the Osage people, which absolutely makes this a terrible, terrible rage. After coming out of this, I had this whole feeling of, I had confusion in me about some of the things that were happening, because I couldn't understand why it just seemed like they were going moment after moment after moment after moment. It was just like a fact mission. But at the same time, they did nothing to really expand the Osage people whatsoever. They had scenes with the Osage people in it, but they didn't really talk about them. They didn't tell their story. It really was. And maybe that's his point, that he's trying to point out that, this is, I want to tell, he likes to show gangster movies. That's his thing. He likes to write gangster movies. But this is not the story that should have been told. And if you're going to sit there and talk about, in front of you, the beginning of your movie, I worked with the Osage people. And I can't imagine any Osage person watching this would say, you know what, this is our story. This is such a great story, white Hollywood. This is a story that, we wanted to tell. No, this is not the story. I absolutely felt when I walked out of this, he was trying to build some sort of confusion on whether or not Leo's character was a good person or a bad person, or whether or not he did or did not love his wife. And there's no fucking possible way. The real person that Leo's character played was the biggest douchebag that's ever walked the face of the earth. And like you said, in some of the things he did to the Osage people, and there should not have been any moment in this movie that they didn't make
where you doubted that
for one fucking second. And also, to your point, I gotta say kudos, because I think that really drilled home to me is that they should have left this with her having the last word. Yep. I think 100%.
And she would have had the last word through her silence, really, just leaving the room.
Yeah.
And that was.
But it
was such a. I'm like, finally, this is such a powerful moment. It wasn't going to save the film or anything for me, but it would have been such a good ending.
A good feeling.
And, and then, I don't know, I think he dropped the... I mean, if the film was different throughout the whole deal, then the little radio show they did at the end probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
But the way that the film played out, if you're going to save Face at all, she absolutely has to have the last word. She just does.
Yeah.
And she didn't.
Yeah, this angered me, to be quite honest. And I went and see this with my wife. She fell asleep a few times, and when she would wake up, she would say, "What is this crappy movie we're watching? It's terrible." And I was like, even the parts that she was, and she thought at points it was ultra violent, and I'm just like, yeah. But she seemed to wake up whenever there was a loud noise, like someone blowing someone.
The American West was violent back then.
Yeah,
it was.
I didn't think Leo's motivation was very clear through the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of scenes in this that could have been edited out. Like the whole scene with Scorsese paddling Leonardo in that. Like it made no sense. It was like it didn't need to be in there.
And there was a lot of choppy sections where they didn't really develop anything. You just saw it was, as you kind of mentioned, it was almost like an information dump every now and there when they're, okay, we're going to show like 5 things, clip, to try to tie this whole thing together. And it nothing really worked. And I feel bad because there are such good performances in this movie that should have been better.
Yeah, I agree. But, they wasted, Plemons in this. They wasted Brendan Fraser in this.
Hey, the indigenous folk that were in this, William Below as Henry. I mean, he was so good.
He was so good.
Yeah. And the sisters, Janae Collins as Rita, Gillian Dion as Minnie, they were so good.
Yeah.
But it just all seemed wasted.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
I've said this before because I said it after the last film that he directed. I think he needs to move into greener pastures.
He needs to retire. Yeah, he is so far beyond Hollywood now. He's so out of touch with what people want anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what was the last movie he did? Was that Irish movie?
Yeah,
right?
which I did not like.
Which is also 4 hours long.
It was all right. I liked it.
I didn't like it because it looked like everything else he'd ever done.
I used to like Scorsese.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s.
There is positive in this. I mean, hopefully this does get people talking. Hopefully it does get people looking into the story. Hopefully discussions happen. I mean, this can be a catalyst for all of that. Even us talking about it now, even though we're talking about it maybe for the wrong reasons, but maybe it'll end up being the right reasons because we're having this discussion.
Maybe some indigenous people will actually get an opportunity to do some directing. Like I think there was a missed opportunity if you really wanted to.
How cool would that have been though? And I think it would have been just it would have made everything so right.
You know what the sad thing about it is? I'm pretty positive if he did that and actually got opinions from them, about this story, they would have said,
Story
"Wait a
shot,
minute,
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
this
this
is not our story."
Yeah, well, it would have been a different movie, but there's a lot of facts in this that are facts.
Yes,
I mean,
of course.
It's very fact-based, this whole story. But it's just told from the wrong point of view. And I think that maybe Scorsese definitely could have been steered, if he was co-directing with someone, I think they maybe could have steered him in the right direction. And it wouldn't have taken much to make this a really good movie.
Yeah, I agree.
But
it's those things that didn't happen that made it bad.
yeah.
All right. Well, the movie you've all been waiting for. Well, actually, at least I've been waiting for. Pretty much, I think, for my entire life.
You didn't even know it was coming out.
No, I did know it was coming out.
You did not.
No,
I'm
I forgot.
What? We're going
because
to what?
We saw the trailer back, I don't know, it was like in the summertime. And then I was in love with it then. But then when I was in the cinema, like, wait, this is that movie I remember that I wanted to see.
Yeah, it didn't even occur to you until
Till we were in it. I don't know.
well, wait a minute.
So
I am looking forward to this.
That's right.
And now I'm here.
It's Dix the Musical.
Dix the Musical.
For a movie called Dix, which Bryce had promised me there would be nothing but dicks in this movie. We didn't get to see any dicks, Murray.
There were no dicks.
But
Sure they sang about it a
what
lot.
we did get to see was a flying vagina.
And you don't see that every day.
And you don't get to see that every day. This is a movie. Only two identical gay men playing straight men who are actually gay, and I guess are the first two gay men to write a musical. Now that's funny.
That's probably not true.
I don't know. They told us it was
Sure
true.
that's not true.
They told us this was true
Well,
in the movie.
yes.
This
Must
is
be right then.
this is ultimately the remake musical gay version of Parent Trap.
Yes.
Except the mom doesn't have a vagina, and the dad is sometimes gay and sometimes not gay, but mostly gay. I don't really know all of what more to tell you about this film, except the music is super gay. Mm-hmm. The lyrics are vulgar and disturbing, and also they are disgusting. But this is the funniest gay musical written by two gay men that have ever been written. That we've been told.
Yes.
Every single thing in this film was extremely over the top, outlandish, and you will not know what will happen from one scene to the next. From sewer boys to gay incest, anything you thought that could be offensive to alt-right Christian nutjobs, this has in it. I have to say, if it is going to be a comedy that's going to come out from now on, I feel the only ones that I want to see from now on are going to be part of the LGBTQ community. I'm just saying, every one that I've seen, I'm not complaining because they've had, a hard time for the last 5,000 years. But if this had the same levels of non-PC that a straight comedy had, there's no possible way that it could have lasted. It would have been canceled by woke culture. But apparently, for the last few films that I've seen from the LGBT community, they get a get-out-of-jail-free card, which I'm completely happy for. I just hope that they get to collect the $200 when they pass go. Because this is the most un-PC film that I think I've ever seen. I had memories of Team America through this. That it takes you to those levels that is so beyond PC, but made it so funny. Like everybody was not safe in this movie, and I think that is one of the great things that has happened with our culture. But it's also one of the bad things that's happened with our culture, I think, is that people can't all not be PC anymore. They wrote this film and thought, you know what, fuck everybody. We're just gonna make what we want to make in this. So, yeah, this movie was 100% made for me. I loved every single scene in it. I loved every single song in it. And we'll unpack a little bit more. But Bryce, what did you think of this?
So sorry, what was it? Was it a mondo?
It was an absolute mondo.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a super duper gay mondo.
So you really, really liked it?
Oh yeah, like I absolutely loved it.
Well, I'll tell you what I thought of it.
This could be scary, Murray.
Yeah.
Dicks, the musical, is a breath of fresh air in this era of not wanting to offend anybody for fear of the backlash. Dicks don't give a damn and tries to offend the entire world, and in doing so is one of the funniest films of the year. The music basically doesn't stop through the entire film, and it adds to its frenetic energy. It is the story of two identical twin brothers separated at birth who swap places in order to get their parents back together. Yes, it is the musical version of The Parent Trap.
It's the gay musical version of The Parent Trap.
But with flying vaginas, sewer boys, a gay god, and incest played for laughs. Aaron Jackson and Josh Sharp star as the brothers, and they also wrote this amazing film. Nathan Lane and Megan Mullally are hilarious as their parents, each with their own unique idiosyncrasies, and Bowen Yang plays God. And if God exists, I hope this is an accurate depiction.
It 100% is.
This film will either turn you completely off with its absurd sexual exploitation, or it will completely turn you on with its absurd sexual exploitation. You will either love it or hate it. I loved it. I thought it was Mondo.
Looks like Murray's doing some pretty good nailing here.
No, he thought we'd mad Killers.
I thought you would like that a little better,
but
yeah, no, I knew this one for sure.
He knew about dicks.
As soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, yep.
Yeah. So
and
there's
it's May 24. So
there was
that's
too
the
many.
thing. A24. Let's talk about that one for a guy. What can they do no wrong?
They can't do
it's
anything
crazy.
wrong. You know what? You're guaranteed a mat in an A24 film. Absolutely guaranteed. At the very least.
Yeah, and probably a Mondo.
Yeah. So there's a couple other things I want to unpack on this, Murray. So, there is a ton of lines in here, but one line that I think maybe we should have a little bit of a chat about.
Okay.
You look like a girl because you have long hair. Well, you have short girl, like a lesbian girl. Like, these are the kind of lines
that's probably the cleanest line you can actually quote.
It was, but the fact that this movie ends with a song that is Love is Love. So they start singing Love is Love. I don't know the exact tune, but I kind of want to get the soundtrack for this because I'm going to be singing it on my way to work every day. I won't be able to sing it out loud on the bus, but I know I'll be humming it to myself. So they go into this kind of, choir thing of love is love and God is a fucking faggot. It's like, if you hadn't been offended by this by now, because when they go to get married, first off, they get married and they're brothers, twin brothers.
The brothers married each other.
They're married each other.
And there is an extended sex scene between them.
Yeah, I would have absolutely hated this.
It's absolutely offensive, but it's so good. The wedding part is funny because all the people who show up, they're like kind of picketing them and stuff. And at the end, they're all loving each other.
How awesome was Nick Offerman in that? He's got the little tiny part in there, but he's just so good.
Yes, he was so good. The cowboy. Yeah. There's so much vulgarity, and I mean, even the sewer boys.
The sewer boys
it's
are
like
so good.
You don't know, like you'd be like going
Nathan
somewhere,
Lane feeding them ham by chewing it and spitting it in their mouths.
They're these little puppet things that it's like just comes right out of nowhere. Like you're watching the movie and you're trying to follow the story, and then all of a sudden it just takes like a right sidebar that you don't know, or Megan Mullally,
my vagina fell off.
My vagina fell off. It's like, what? And then so they basically parent trapped each other, so they pretended they were each other and went to the other parent's house to see.
They look nothing alike, by the way.
They're not identical twins either. They don't look alike. So there's a scene where Megan Mullally's going like, "Oh, can you get that thing down from me?" And her voice is just beyond.
She's got like
hilarious.
a whole wall of little tchotchkes.
Yeah, little tchotchkes and stuff. Can you get that down? And the whole scene of him trying to get the thing down, and then finally
he's like, "This one?" She's like, "No, I'm pointing right at it." He's like, "This one? No, I'm the one I'm pointing at.
See my finger, travel the line.
Draw a line from my finger
to the thing." But then the best thing is the whole reason why she was asking to pull the thing down is because she wanted to masturbate with it, although she didn't have a vagina. It just goes from one level of absurd to the next. I want to buy this and just live inside this movie. Like,
it was a lot of fun.
yeah, and the things that make me mad about musicals in general was the things that I absolutely loved about this, because I hate going to see musicals. If you're going to make a musical, just fucking go all the way and make an opera. People should either be talking or singing. They shouldn't be doing either one. But in this one, what made it funny is when they were talking, it was idiotic, but when they were singing, it was even more idiotic. So it made it just that much funnier. Yeah, this is a movie, if you want to laugh yourself stupid, this is the movie for you. And the best thing about it was they had all the edit scenes at the end of it. Remember the edit scenes at the end where they're talking to the director? Nathan Lane's talking to the director, and he's like, I think this is the worst thing that's ever happened in my career that I'm in this movie. And the guy's like, you're welcome. It was just like...
and FYI, this film was directed by the guy who did Borat. So if you love the Borat series, you will probably love this movie.
I love the naked wrestling scene in Borat, that's for sure.
There you go.
Yeah, let's go see this again. Can we see this again this weekend? And we'll talk about it next week. All right, what did we finish off with this week, Brycey?
Well, sir, we finished off with Nyad. Nyad is the true story of a marathon swimmer, Diana Nyad, played by Annette Bening, who in her 60s decides to attempt to do what she could not do when she was 30.
And not just she do, everybody do. No one has even done this.
Swim 110 miles from Cuba to Florida. She convinces her friend Bonnie, played by Jodie Foster, to coach her in this improbable endeavor. Every now and then, I kind of forget how brilliant Jodie Foster is, but she reminds me, and then some, with her portrayal of Bonnie. She's at the top of her game, and there is a natural chemistry between her and Bening on screen. Foster's character, Bonnie, anchors Diana in the film, and Foster's performance anchors the whole movie. Aside from the performances, Nyad is a striking film to look at. The ocean scenes are beautifully shot both above and under the water. It is a familiar underdog story of triumph over adversity that we have seen 1,000 times before, both through fiction and non-fiction films. But this tired formula is elevated by Foster and Bening's authentic portrayal of these ladies. This is a good film with compelling characters and superior performances, but is also about 20 minutes too long and a little repetitious. Jodie Foster's portrayal of Bonnie Stoll is mondo, but the film as a whole is meh.
Remember, you were so close, buddy. You were so close. You're almost there. This is really an inspiring film of one woman and fulfilling her lifelong dream, which only took her to the ripe old age of 64 to achieve.
Yes.
Annette Bening and Jodie Foster are brilliant together in this, and really does show us how true friendship love looks like, even though they're both lesbians. Because from the sounds of things, Diana Nyad was a self-centered and self-absorbed bitch to a lot of people. But
she got an ego.
Yeah, she got an ego. And also just very self-absorbed. Like, she didn't know what the rest of the world was happening around her.
No.
But she also had this ability, it seemed, for people to just get behind her. Like, she had this infectious drive that seemed, even though she was an asshole to people, she still had this ability to pull them into her, her orbit. This lady was an inspiration, and I think maybe a little bit crazy.
I would say so.
Yeah, maybe even a lot crazy. This biopic is very well done, and I enjoyed it immensely. However, I'm going to say it was 30 minutes too long.
All right.
And if you are going to portray a real-life person's journey to their dreams that anyone could look up online, you don't need to show each time in great detail of her failed attempts.
Even Rocky had a montage.
Yeah, even Rocky had a montage. Right. Speaking of Team America, because even though I knew how this ended, by the time she's in her fifth kick at this can, I'm like, I'm kind of done. I like this a lot, and particularly the casting, which you've already mentioned
Yeah.
in a little bit more graver detail, especially Jodie Foster
Oh,
and
so good.
and Rhys Ifans.
Yeah, Rhys Ifans was very
Was
good in
freaking
this.
brilliant in
Love
this.
that dude.
Yeah, he's
You would like this movie.
yeah, you would
Murray.
actually like this movie, other than maybe the 30 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to now see, another case where it's based on true life. It's a biopic. I want to see the documentary about her.
Yeah.
Because I think that it had, if they would have cut 20 or 30 minutes out of this would have totally been a Mondo,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
It
just needs
was
to be
just-
tightened up. We didn't need to see so much of the failed attempts. It could have
Yeah.
been, that could have been tightened up big time. You could have created they could have created her effort without those extended scenes that
Yeah.
just
So-
need to be tightened.
So they show, like, basically, Murray, she's like a long distance swimmer
Yeah.
that has
No, I saw the trailer.
yeah. So but then she tried to attempt it when she was 60,
Yeah.
when she was 61,
Yeah, no,
when
I-
she was
I
62,
I saw it from the
when she's
trailer.
63.
She's like swimming in basically like a tropical storm and at nighttime.
Yeah, and so
huge
they
waves, and I'm like, couldn't you wait till the daytime? Like, really?
Well, no, she can't. She's got to swim through the night because it takes that long.
yeah, it was like
swims for
50 some
50 some
hours.
odd hours.
Check the weather forecast, and
They
They did.
They do.
Yeah,
gone when there wasn't a storm.
But
Yeah.
she's a little bit of a hard head, and there was one time
There
where
you
she
go.
was just saying, "We're going."
yeah.
yep.
And,
And that was one of-
fans is going, "No, we're not." He's like, "Yeah, we are," and he's like, "All right."
And the interesting thing about this, as you get to the end of this, the film, and then they show the real people in real life. That was really cool too. And every single person that was in it, like Jodie Foster, looked like
Yeah.
the character. So it wasn't and Annette Bening looked like her, and Rhys Ifans looked like him. Like
Especially Rhys Ifans.
yeah, it was kind of like
Definitely.
wow, they really got the casting right. Like
Yeah.
not only the great performances, but also the fact that they actually looked like it. Yeah, this.
it's good.
I would say this is probably one of Annette Bening's best performances for me. Like
Yeah,
I've always kind of thought she was, she's good.
always
she's
solid.
solid.
She's solid.
Yeah,
but she
but
never
this-
stands
she was
out.
stand
She's-
out.
yeah. And the fact that she still stood out when she's playing
Beside.
opposite Jodie Foster and sharing
Yeah.
nothing but screen time with her,
Yep.
who's a freaking force.
To be reckoned with.
Yeah, it was two ladies at the top of their game as far as acting
Yeah,
goes.
I wouldn't doubt we're going to see some Oscar nods for these two.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Unfortunately, neither one of them is going to make my gym list this year. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
No.
I'm sure they'll be very disappointed.
Well,
Sure, they
I'll
will
probably get a
just-
call from Jodie.
I'm sure
Does she call you often?
No, only when I talk about her.
Yeah. All right.
So I'll probably get a call this weekend.
I just watched a Jodie Foster movie.
Was it
I
Little
remember
Darlings?
Jodie Foster in that
It
Jodie
was on
Foster
TV.
movie.
It was Silence of the Lambs.
Well,
Wow, that's a good
nice.
movie.
That is a good
One
movie.
of the few
It's actually
horror movies
funny.
I like.
We've got this bear that's like put up in the rafters right now at the Costco, and they've got him like up in the steel, and it
Does he get the
kind
behind
of
the
reminds
cage?
me of the scene from like
Is it-
Silence of the
You
Lambs.
got the
where
cage and the mask.
no cage, man. But yeah.
But-
I actually think that they should take his feet and like cross him and then put his arms out. But
Hide his wiener.
I just love, like, from what I heard her tell the story, how method her and Anthony Hopkins were. He scared the living crap out of her.
yeah,
Didn't
scared
talk-
the living
Scared the
crap out of me.
too.
Didn't talk to her the entire shooting of the film, and she was just afraid of him. Like, she wouldn't even go near him.
Well, and
like the
that's why she was
craft
amazing
services.
and he was amazing,
Anyway,
and that
but yeah,
movie's amazing.
So yes, I've always enjoyed Jodie Foster
And the book's
movies.
amazing.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
That was a good week. We had a big mixed bag of tricks.
You did.
Right? How often
Yeah.
do we get how often do we get like one of everything?
Yeah,
You
Rage
did-
and
you did-
Man
you did get
Amando.
a Rage
And we
and
all
Man.
agreed on everything, so that's also rare.
It's like you did.
Did we really?
Yeah, we
you
agreed
did.
on everything.
Wow. That's the crazy.
It is
That
crazy.
is the crazy.
What the fuck?
Well, you're finally coming around, Jim.
Yeah, I guess. Well, we didn't rate some other stuff that
Or
I know.
you're
you-
coming down, one of the two.
Yeah, probably one of those.
Hey!
Yeah, I didn't really have anything planned, but
We're gonna talk about Silence of the Lambs.
no, listening to you guys talk,
Oh.
Yes.
I'm instantly filled with rage
What?
What?
at Martin Scorsese
Oh.
and yet another white man trying to tell a Native American story,
Yeah.
which happens way too much.
Yep.
So I'm putting on my Métis hat
Nice.
for the moment.
Yep.
I play it whenever I felt like it.
Well, you have that right to play that card.
I'm Norwegian the other 90% of the time. But
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Well, you like to pretend that you're full blood Norwegian, but
never full. But as I saw on a T-shirt once on Facebook, half Norwegian is better than none.
None Norwegian. That's right.
Yeah, like maybe it's a good thing I didn't see this movie. I probably would have been even more filled with rage than you guys. Growing up as the son of a Métis person, I was taught the history of Batoche. If you do not know what that is a famous battle site between the Métis and the Canadian government, in which, yes, it went on for a long time. Louis Riel was the head of it.
Yep.
And many people died, and it was all fought over freaking railroad rights and land rights. That's all it was. And they slaughtered people just because they wanted the land. And they still haven't made it up to them years later. And it's not just Métis; it's every single tribe out there.
Yep.
So yeah, this to me seems like it's just another white man trying to tell a story he knows nothing about.
And yet he talks about the fact that he engaged the people.
Yeah.
But I mean, it depends
I think
on.
he just paid them off.
Well,
personally.
I don't doubt that he engaged them.
I think he went at it thinking that he was doing the right thing and thinking that the story was that he was bringing this story to the masses. And I think his intentions were good. I think he's an old white dude.
It was misguided. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you kind of said it earlier, Marie, he's a little out of touch with what society
out of touch
is.
what society is like now. Yeah.
I'm just kind of surprised that because Leo is usually backs.
Usually he's a lot better than that. Usually.
Backs some pretty important things.
I feel like if he indeed did get the support of the Osage people, he obviously didn't show him the script before he started shooting.
Well,
he should have had the tribal leader or whoever read this thing and say, "Well, is this an accurate depiction?" And they would have said, "Hell no."
Well, but
yes, they obviously went over some of the worst parts of it, but I mean, they still told it from a white person's point of view, right?
They did, and it was an accurate depiction. It was just the way that they presented a certain character is what left the bad taste in my mouth and Jim's as well. I believe.
And I think just more attention to what actually happened. I think when you have white privilege and you don't even realize what's happening, because none of us that grew up in the age that we grew
for
up.
those who maybe not have seen me, yes, I am part Métis, which is French and Indian. I'm also Norwegian, but I look nothing like my dad's ancestors. They are all like dark skinned.
I don't know.
Hair.
I've seen you with a tan though. You look pretty. You're pretty hot. With your sweet tan.
My grandmother, who was a sweet little old Métis woman, used to call me her little white boy because I was the only grandchild she had that wasn't dark skinned.
So you come from like the country with albinism, and then you've got the beautiful brown skin.
I'm Norse as well, so I'm also Norwegian.
But you do tan pretty well, buddy.
I do tan. I never burn. That's a plus.
Go.
But anyway, so I just wish they would get it right these days. It just doesn't seem like.
Kudos to that, buddy.
Job.
Temperature rising. Vision blurring. Rage taking over.
Sweet, sweet, refreshing rage, cleansing my soul of all your evils. Yeah, my rage this week is Martin Scorsese. That's it. I don't have much else to say. I've talked about this recent movie, but I want him to retire. Or I want him to impart his wisdom on the future of directing and allow people to learn from him and support projects that are going to make a difference in the world. That's my rage.
Ditto. Well said, Jim.
All right.
That's it. Okay, then. Yeah, more Scorsese. Please retire. Or go to some school and start teaching, directing.
You could do that.
You could do that.
To some of the indigenous communities.
There you go.
Rage subsiding. Pulse slowing. Anger fading.
Oh, lists. Lists. If you're listening to us for the first time, welcome aboard. And if you're not listening to us for the first time, you already know this. But go to our website, filmrageyyc.com. Take a look at our lists page, where you will find 5 lists. 4 are very similar. Doubted, undoubted, mesmerizing, and repulsive. And the other is past mesmerizing people and who out-mesmerized them. So we have been trying to take some people off and then apparently I added a bunch of people on just to make things more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And Murray charged us last week with seeing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
I've heard of that movie.
Yeah. And I haven't seen this movie since it first came out in cinemas. I'm not sure about you.
I've watched it probably 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
I had it on Blu-ray for a while. It was part of this cool box set with House of Flying Daggers and Curse of the Golden Flower.
Ooh.
Both excellent.
Yes.
Those. In fact, House of Flying Daggers is the best
Yes,
of the 3.
I agree.
But
Isn't that funny? We agreed again.
Yes.
What's going on this week?
But all 3 of those movies are awesome. And
Yeah. I think it's a good choice. It wasn't tough for me. Mostly because for me it was all about the face. Because there's a lot of times with the dialogue in this movie in particular, there is a lot of close-up shots.
There is.
Yeah. So for me, it was Michelle Yeoh.
So I went into this thinking that Chow Yun-Fat had no chance. Because that's how I remember it, and I've seen the movie quite a few times.
Yeah, you saw it more times than me.
And my memory's good because he had no chance. Michelle Yeoh she's just so mesmerizing.
You were trying to throw me for a loop there, weren't you? You were trying to make me think he might be saying Chow Yun's got a chance.
No.
Yeah.
He had no
Like
chance.
the first 20 minutes and
massacre.
the scene of them together at the very beginning.
Yep.
In that scene alone, she just destroyed him.
That was that.
It was just like, you know what? I love Chow Yun-Fat.
I could have just stopped at that point. To be
Yeah, it
honest.
was just like, but I still watched the whole movie. And actually, what's her name? The other one, she would have out mesmerized Chow Yun-Fat in this movie.
Yeah,
and I mean, maybe his role was supposed to be a little bit more stoic, but
it was. But
he could have Chow Yun-Fatted it a little bit better.
Yeah, no, it was not even close.
And you know what? Murray predicted this last week, so
I kind of did.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Not like I wanted to take Chow Yun-Fat off the list, but
I love Chow Yun-Fat.
I
So
knew
do I.
I knew if you faced them head to head that Michelle Yeoh would.
yeah, you know,
there's
it's
no
gonna be tough for.
She is awesome.
And you know what? Now that she's back in the limelight in
That's true.
English-speaking movies,
Yes.
I feel sorry for a lot of English-speaking actors
That's true.
that have to go up against her.
Indeed.
And she also can do kung fu moves. So what
That's
can't
right.
she do?
She can kick Jackie Chan's ass if she wants.
Yeah, maybe.
I think she has at one point.
You know what? That's a movie I would love to see.
I would love to see them together too.
Yeah, and making out. That'd be cool too.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, why not? Punch each. Kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but
Yeah,
Jackie Chan and
the Chinese.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible. Just stop.
Just stop.
So the other reminder that we have to make a plan to watch some Werner Herzog films to get him on the undoubted list.
Yeah.
So that's
many
up
hours
to
in
you
a day,
to,
but yes,
to
I
start
know.
planning what we're doing about that.
Yeah,
Just giving everybody a reminder.
Yeah.
So Murray, have you got us a challenge for next week, my little buckaroo?
My list isn't quite done yet.
All right. So Murray's gonna.
I got like 4 names. I do have one. I don't know why I never brought this up before.
Uh-oh.
But maybe because I was a little afraid. But We got good old Christian Bale, who's still on a list, I believe.
Yes, he is.
And he was in a movie with Frances McDormand
What?
called Laurel Canyon.
Oh, yes, he was.
Yeah.
And
wow.
they're like right side by side in the listing, so I'm assuming that they're both in it for more than 5 minutes.
Sorry, what's it? I remember this movie, but what's it called again?
Laurel Canyon.
Laurel.
EL.
Laurel.
It's also a famous place in California.
It is. It's where a lot of good music got produced or made.
I believe
Yeah.
a lot of murders too, I believe.
There's that as well.
You know,
it's
I've
a big
seen
valley,
this.
I think, where they dump bodies.
I've seen this, but I can't remember who would have been more mesmerizing. So this
Yeah,
is going to be
I
this is
think-
going to be
I think
Battle
she's
Royale.
the main star of it, but I know he's in it.
Let's hope he's in it for a full.
What, we're going to watch Battle Royale? Who's mesmerized off in that movie?
The Battle Royale Canyon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Battle
I thought it
Royale.
was...
Canyon.
Nice try, though. Nice try.
okay.
Oh,
All right,
looking
then.
forward to this.
Is that all you got?
Yeah, I think so. You know what? I don't think Bryce has
throw any more
anything
names
new
on
and
there?
exciting.
Nothing.
We could talk about the fact that we missed the fact that Jodie Foster got taken off the mesmerizing
She
list.
did.
She did.
Yeah, and rightfully
Sadly.
so.
And rightfully so, but man,
If you don't bring your
if
A-game-
she was bringing the game she had in Nyad to the
Yeah.
performance that she got knocked out in, there would be no
Panic
question.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, you know what? You know, when we say directors and actors beware,
Yeah.
you cannot hide from the rage. You've got to bring your A game all the time if you want to stay on one of our lists. Obviously, except the repulsive list, which, you know, you just have to be
Yeah,
your
you still got to
terrible
bring
self.
you still got to bring your A game, but
Well, that would take you off the list,
Well,
though.
no, your
He's gotta
A,
show
your
up
A
and-
game ain't good enough to even.
He's got to show up and get a paycheck.
No, that's not what we're here for, Murray. We're here to make sure that directors and actors stay on the top of their game at all times.
Because that.
Otherwise, they're going to feel the
Bryce
rage.
doing? He's like playing footsies with you or something. I don't know. He keeps getting up.
He's putting his hands under the table,
thing nobody
Murray.
can
Don't
see this.
don't stop him. I'm actually enjoying this.
Anyway, all right.
Whatever he's doing, it's working for me.
That's it for that.
All right, you've obviously finished, Jim.
Last week on Rage or Dare, Bryce and Jim pulled from the Merman's ice creamy bucket of rage and pulled the 1997 film Best Men. Wait, has anyone ever actually heard of this movie? Let me take a look and see who else is in this film. Drew Barrymore, okay. Luke Wilson, all right. Fred Ward, interesting. Brad Dourif, that can't be too. Whoa. Dean Cain. Okay, yeah. This is going to be a problem. This week, it's all Bryce all night, where he can choose to rage or dare or Casey. Now let's check in with the boys and see if Andy Dick is the best man or just the best dick. Come on, Bryce.
Is that ice creamy good?
Well, Best Men has a pretty good cast, aside from Dean Cain, who is just terrible
Superman.
in everything,
Superman.
including this. Oh yeah, Andy Dick's in this too. Okay. Oh, and Drew Barrymore is in this.
You love Drew Barrymore. You said last week she's like one of your favorites.
I don't know. No, I did not.
Pretty sure you did.
Okay, maybe not such a good cast. But also you get Luke Wilson and Fred Ward, as mentioned. And we also get Not Norman Reedus from Boondock Saints. But even with all that, superstar power, this film is just a mess. And as with all ill-conceived films, nothing makes sense. And everywhere you turn, there are convenient coincidences. And why is everybody so trigger happy? People are getting shot for no apparent reason. And why is the sheriff happy that his son is running from the authorities instead of turning himself in? And where does that guy get a helicopter? And how is Luke Wilson able to hang on to Drew Barrymore with one hand as they dangle off of a helicopter hundreds of feet in the air? And why is Dean Cain ever cast in anything? And why do I not... And why do I care that Not Norman Reedus has daddy issues? And I could go on, but I won't. I'll just leave you with this. Best Men is a rage.
Never thought that was going to happen.
Shocker.
Made for TV.
This was actually sorry, before you...
Yeah.
This was probably the best that Not Norman Reedus has been, though.
Who the hell is Not Norman Reedus?
He's the guy from Boondock
He's the guy
Saints
from
that
Boondock
isn't-
Saints that's not
Reedus
Norman
is.
But
Reedus.
isn't Norman
Have you seen
Reedus?
Boondock Saints?
No.
Okay, well, there's two brothers in Boondock Saints.
And it's the other
one
one.
is Norman Reedus,
Oh, this is
and
the
the
other
other
is
one
the
is
other.
not Norman Reedus.
Now I got
So
you.
he's not Norman
Oh.
Reedus, and he was in this movie.
He's the
That's
other
right.
Norman Reedus.
And you can look up who that is. So, made for TV movie much?
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it seemed like it.
Yeah. Fred
It
Ward
wasn't.
does his best version of Fred Ward that he can do,
He did.
which is still not Tremors enough for this movie, I'm going to say.
It was
Andy
okay.
Dick?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore, like in most movies, is really annoying in this.
Yeah, she's awesome in Adam Sandler movies, but other than that.
No, she's just annoying in every
And
movie.
I loved her in Home Fries, which was also with Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
He was also in the Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, no. Now, speaking of Luke
Just
Wilson,
saying.
Yes.
Luke Wilson is typical Luke Wilson.
Yes.
He's not annoying,
Yeah.
but not really doing anything
He's
else.
just-
He's the lesser of the Wilsons.
He's the lesser of the
You know what?
Wilsons.
And initially, I think
will
last
agree
week
there.
I said he's the second best of the Wilsons, but I actually think he's now the third best of the Wilsons because I don't think he has any range. That's what my belief is on Luke Wilson.
But he's likable.
Yeah, he's likable.
But
'cause
Owen
all
Wilson is
Wilsons are
likable with
likable.
range.
Yeah, Owen Wilson has a little bit more range,
more range.
and a little bit more likable. But Luke Wilson plays the same character in every movie.
Yep.
And so if you like him in that movie, then no, he really does. He's this soft-spoken guy.
No, he was in Behind Enemy Lines.
No, that was Luke. That wasn't Luke Wilson. That was Owen Wilson.
That was Owen Wilson, yeah.
Yeah. So Owen, we're not talking about
Well,
Owen
I'm-
Wilson.
well,
You
One
were
of the-
just talking about Owen Wilson.
No,
One of them is a blonde. One of them is
Yeah.
is a
I
brunette,
know.
so-
one of them's older
And
and
you
one
know,
of them's
is-
younger.
is it-
But he
is he
showed
older?
some range.
Yes, he does show some range. Owen.
Yeah.
Owen does.
Yeah, also in
That's
that
what we're
TV
talking
show that
about.
he has that you're in love with, and I like Loki. But
Oh,
everything
yeah,
else,
Loki's good. I
yeah,
like it.
exactly. He's got range. But sorry, going back to Luke Wilson,
Right,
no,
because he was the one in
he
this
has
movie.
he has no range.
That's true.
Dean
Still like
Cain does his best TV acting he normally
Oh my
does.
God, he's awful.
He looks gorgeous
I like him.
and basically tries really hard to try and pretend he can do his best TV acting. That's what he's doing. This story is kind of unique for a heist film, though. But everything about it is ridiculous and stupid,
Yes.
or making bank robbers out to be a Robin Hood type
I
character.
didn't know what was going
was
on.
completely stupid.
Nothing made sense.
And as a bank teller,
yeah.
I can tell you that no matter what reason someone's sticking a gun in your face to fucking steal your money, it's not going to make them out to be a good guy.
No.
They stuck a gun in front of somebody's face and was going to rob them.
And then the little old ladies are like, oh.
Yeah,
He wasn't in the bank.
he wasn't. Yeah, like everything about this was stupid. Brad Dourif, though, was awesome
Yeah.
in this, like he normally is. And for that reason alone, this was a Mondo.
no,
What?
it wasn't.
Oh, sorry. No,
But
that's
where
not.
do you get the helicopter?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
From Charlie's Angels.
No, I'm kidding. Even the great Brad Dourif could not save this film.
No.
This was awfully dumb and stupid, which made no sense. And most of the actors felt like they were doing their worst extended episode of a TV movie. No one in this was any good whatsoever.
No.
It's an absolute rage. But I have some unpacking I want to do.
I'm just shocked. How did you come up with this one, Merman?
I saw
He
it.
just found it
I
and he
found
pulled
it.
it.
dollar bin, and it just screamed out to me.
It screamed out to you. That
It screamed
Well,
out.
the fact that Andy Dick was in it was probably a good indicator.
That's usually a good indicator.
It is. But
Not
yeah, no,
only
you,
is he a terrible actor, he's a terrible human being.
you did good with this one because this was a complete piece of crap.
was
Oh my
so
god!
Everything that you're
Thank God
mentioning.
I got to watch it for free on Tubi.
Thank God I got.
And the best part was I got the movie broken up by commercials
There
that
you
were
go.
way more entertaining
There
than the
you go.
movie was.
I provided you with an actual hard copy of it.
Yeah,
So
You
I-
provided
blame
Jim
me.
with a hard
I
copy.
have the
Provided
hard
you
copy.
both. You could have shared it.
I'm gonna admit that after the movie, I was so raged up, I did rub my genitals against the package.
Did you throw it out?
No, I still have
You
it.
should
I'm
throw
gonna
it out.
when I really need a good rage, I'm gonna pull that out and take a look at it again.
Or throw it out the balcony and skeet shoot it?
Yeah, there was so many times like people are shot in this and should be dead. Like, what were they shooting Andy Dick with in the movie? He got shot like 72 times. It must have been BB guns because he lived. And then the fact that every single person in the movie would die.
He
so
didn't
that
die?
No, he did not die. No, he
I
didn't.
saw him get shot.
Yeah, he got shot a bunch of times.
Yeah, like 3 or 4
Yeah,
times
no,
in
they
the
took
chest.
him off. He was fine. Yeah. And Murray, get this, because I can lend you the movie back now that I own it.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Get this, the probably the worst thing
I must
about
have
it, other than
dozed
all the
off.
other worst thing, is that it was like everybody was okay with just shooting anybody anytime they
Yeah, it
wanted.
was just
and,
dumb.
And all of his friends are in like they're willing to die so that Luke Wilson and Drew Barrymore can go to Mexico on
It's
their honeymoon.
weird.
It's like it made
No.
and it's like when he grabbed her and they pulled off the helicopter. I'm like you see the scene behind them,
Yeah.
and there's like nowhere they're gonna land. So he's gonna be holding her by one hand
Yeah.
for miles and miles and miles and miles. And you're like, I'm just wondering where he's gonna drop her. Apparently, he dropped her in Mexico because that's where they end
That's
up
where
at
they
the end
end
of the
up,
movie.
yeah.
This was like beyond awful.
It was.
So thank you.
Okay.
I now have a new thing to rub my genitals against when I'm in a ragey mood. All right, Bryce, what are you going to do?
I don't care.
I might have my final rage in my bag if I can ever find it.
You make the choice. Tell me what you want
Here,
me
let's
to
take
do.
my last item from my tasty bag.
You sure?
Yep.
All right. What is it?
This was the one that we didn't know what it was before, and I updated it. It's
Okay.
One for the Money from 2012.
I believe that is a Katherine Heigl film.
Sounds
go.
familiar.
I believe she's a brunette in it too.
Like that makes her act better.
I don't know. I just, for some reason, I have this. I'm seeing the movie poster in my mind's eye, and she's a brunette.
I want to say, nice.
Is that the movie?
Yes.
It is Katherine Heigl.
Oh yes,
Oh,
it is
God.
100%.
She is not a good actress.
She is not.
Yeah, there's a few people in this you're not going to like seeing.
Okay, so this is actually from 2012, right?
That is correct.
All right.
It isn't a Gerard Butler. movie,
It's
is it?
Gerard Butler as
There
well.
you go.
I believe, isn't it?
No,
Oh,
but
no.
we get the fantastic John Leguizamo in it, so at least
There
you'll
you
have
go.
5 minutes of awesome.
Who's opposite her in this? So who's the other major?
Jason O'Mara,
What?
maybe.
Don't know who it is.
I just love when you're looking at the pictures, people's pictures on IMDb.
She is a brunette, though.
Yeah, the fact if you were going to have this as your profile pic,
Yeah.
like most people
Yeah,
have it from
okay.
awards.
Yeah,
This guy, whoever
he's
this guy is,
he's shirtless
He's
with a
naked
ukulele.
holding a cello. So,
Is it a cello?
so everybody look
Ukulele.
at
Slightly
look
bigger
at
than a ukulele.
IMDb to see Adam
Jason.
Paul's profile pics on
Right
IMDb. That'll tell you how good this movie's going to be.
All right.
Exactly.
So I'm watching one for the money. Got
Yeah,
it.
you are.
There you
2
go.
for the show, 3 to get ready,
the show.
and here we go.
I saw it in theaters. Don't remember it.
That's just sad.
I saw everything in theaters.
Of course you did.
Me too. Thanks, Ragers, for listening. Thanks to the extended Film Rage family, who you can find in our show notes. Thanks to Casey, the nerdy photographer, the voice of Rage or Dare, and our god of rage. Find us on social media everywhere at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyc.com, including our merch site for Redbubble and TeePublic. Buy your granny some beautiful Film Rage panties. We are always wanting to make this a raging blast for our listeners, so please comment, like, And subscribe and send us emails to filmragecalgary@gmail.com. Dare us to see terrible movies to fuel our rage. But no matter what you do, please, 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 pretty please, please, please make us a rage. That's it for this week. A rage on.
Rage on.